Alright, you're back with Al and this is Chronicles of a Not Yet Champion Golfer. I'm going to start something new and this is going to be the first one of those new videos. Something that's going to come out at the beginning of every month or the end or beginning of the next month. It's going to be basically covering my golf over the previous month, looking at the results, how I've got on, finishes in the tournaments, the scores, where those scores have come from. I'm going to be looking at the stats relating to those results and the work I've been doing off the course, sort of in the gym and mentally as well. So swing wise, I've actually been doing more of it in my garage at home, and I've been doing that because it kind of stops me getting obsessed with what the ball's doing. It stops me getting angry with what the ball's doing as well. So technically, I've been working on trying to get a little bit deeper in the backswing, so the right elbow's further behind me, and from there the feeling is like I'm moving my knuckles and my right hand back and the right elbow forward, so it's that. And that's a big thing for me, is trying to shallow the club. I've always been, I get to the top, good extension there, but then my hands travel, and then from there I get really narrow and I have to back up at it and I just spray it all over the shop. So this is the main, the bulk of my technical practice, what it's been, trying to get more extension and width on the backswing, more depth in the hips, really winding them up, because that's where the power is going to come from, and just really trying to feel like that shallow in the club head on the way down. So I'll try and break that down into three things when I'm practicing. Feel that rotation and extension on the way back, that initial move, and I'll turn into this left arm without actually trying to move the left arm down. It's almost like it stays up and I turn into it. And again, that's where it kind of gives you that bit more power and the body can boss it a bit more as long as that right elbow's moved forward. So I'm up there, I feel that initial movement down and turn through it. Next I'll do that kind of one move, but I'll make sure I'm in the right position at the top. Feel the extension, pause, feel it as one swing, and then make a smooth full swing, sort of incorporating all those feels. So technically I feel like I have got better. I feel like my swing is in a better position. When I'm in the garage and I'm on the practice ground, it feels in control. It feels like I don't have to lash at it still to get the speed and the distance, but in tournaments that can change. And just in the last round I played, I kind of figured out when I have a fault in a tournament, I figured out what that is, and I'm trying to keep sort of extension width on the backswing. Sometimes in tournaments I don't do that, and I get a hand travel at the top of my backswing, so the club goes long and then I get very narrow in the downswing because of where the club's gone at the top of the backswing, and then I can literally hit it anywhere, which unfortunately has happened a couple of times. But knowing that, I'm able to recognise that what I'm doing wrong, and that's half the battle. You're always going to hit bad shots, but it's knowing why so that you don't do it again, hopefully, is the plan. Obviously I'm going to do it again, but just not as often. Deeper with that right arm in the backswing, and then feel knuckles back to the wall, elbow in, and as I turn, feel like the left arm stays up and I'm turning in to that left arm. Joking. I'm just stiff from 7-iron there, straight into wind. So if there's something to be said from talking yourself through what you're trying to actually do, that was a pretty good example of it there. Maybe I should incorporate that into my pre-shot routine, because that actually worked then. But what I tend to do is do it, it'll work, and I'll try it again, it won't work, and I just got to bin that doesn't work. So it's good sticking power, that. It wouldn't be a proper update, would it, without a little bit of an update on the geese. So there you go, 5 of them. Look at him with his head forward. Go on. So there's your geese update. They're all like eating and stuff, and he's like, I don't know what he's doing. He's hissing at me. Oh, they've got big tongues. Look at the tongue on him. Oh, don't. It's all right. I'll leave you now. I don't want to stress him out, do I? Wow, he's looking at me like aggressively. Look at that. Okay. Alright, he's told me I'm off. Someone asked me in my last video, I think it was actually, I know this isn't that relevant to this video, but they asked me how I play the low 2-iron off the tee and whether I tee it up or not. If the turf's tightly cut, I'll tee it up, but really low, and if it's fluffy, I'll hit it off the turf. Actually, this is a shot that I should actually work on more, because I used to play it a lot and I don't that much now, but I need to get it in play more often. So it's a shot I should go to because I do feel quite comfortable with it. Most important thing is making sure your body and your hips keep turning through, because if I don't clear my hips and slide that way, I'm going to back up and get a big block miles right. So ball slightly back, hands forward, left hand quite strong, just make sure you clear the hips. And then you can't get your tee out the ground because you've teed up too low. That's the gist of it anyway, mate, so hopefully that helps you out. I've started making a few changes, trying to use my time better, getting in the gym, getting it done early, working stuff that's specific to golf, but stuff that specifically makes me feel better about what I'm doing. Little things like when I get in the gym, I never used to do much cardio, whereas now I get in the gym and I'll do a 5-minute run, which is an absolute killer to start the day, but really wakes you up. It's 8 mile an hour first minute, 9 mile an hour second minute, 10 mile an hour third minute, 11 mile an hour fourth minute. Maximum that the treadmill goes is 12 mile an hour for the 5th minute. That last minute is killer. In terms of the power side of things, I've carried on with the ones that I covered previously on some of the swing speed update videos, but I've also added in some kettlebell, what are they called? Snatches, which basically is just driving power up through the ground and exploding into the extended position at the top, which is just creating power, really explosive move, which obviously is going to help you hit it a little bit further and really strengthen up your legs. And as well as that, something called switches, which I've seen on an app called CenterFit. The guy is called Darulk. There you go, I forgot his name then. Darulk, which is an amazing name. He looks like a Darulk. Do you know what I mean? If you could picture what Darulk would look like, that's it. Like, he's a big, massive, strong fella. Trying to keep your upper body nice and stable. I've got a weighted bar on my shoulders and squatting down, exploding up, but twisting the lower half, which is increasing rotation, but also increasing stability and a little bit of separation between the upper body and the lower body, which is going to help me to really clear my hips through impact. Actually straight as well, that time, which is quite a rarity. I've been doing stuff at home as well, which I covered when I was in Tenerife with the, what do they call them, the old stretchy bands. Just really trying to give myself the best chance to swing it as good as I can. I definitely feel better about myself and the way that I'm swinging it and the way that I'm able to swing it, because I've worked a lot more on my mobility. It's so difficult. I know that looks like it shouldn't be difficult, but it is. That's a joke. So on to the all-important bit, my scores and how I've been doing. I'm gonna have a little sit down because I need to look at the stats and all sorts on my phone to actually explain what's been going on. Just before I start, someone's playing there. When I got here this morning, I had to rescue a little bird. Look at this one. How good's he? Score-wise, first tournament I played last month was a Pro-Am. It's a local Pro-Am series, so it's good to get a card in your hand. Is at Warrington Golf Club. I shot 68 there, 3 under par. I won, fortunately, won by 2, but I finished rubbish, like rubbish. I was playing really nicely. I was 4 under with 4 holes to play. 2 holes out of the last 4 are par 5s, which is where the par 5s you've really got to be taking advantage of. I feel like I hit it good distance. I should be taking advantage of the par 5s. In that round, I actually 3-putted the first par 5 for a par. The 15th and 4 under at this point. I've short-sided myself with an 8-iron into the green, missed it left. But to be fair, I'd pulled the drive left, I had to move it around some trees. So short-sided myself left, hit it out to 4 feet and actually missed the putt. So that was a par. And then the last par 5, pin was right at the back. To be honest with you, I was still annoyed that I hadn't birdied the 15th. I made a bad decision. I hit a 5-iron instead of a 6. You can't go long. But I hit 5-iron, went long, went in a load of rubbish long, couldn't get it out, made a bogey. So the par 5s, I was over par 4, 1 over par, which was really poor. They were all reachable, you know. I had 7-iron, 8-iron, 5-iron, which should have been a 6-iron, but I let things affect me. I did get away with that one because I won, but down the line in a bigger event, I'm not going to get away with that. So I've got to make sure that I keep my mind clear, stay in the present. I don't let other things affect me. But also, you know, I've got to, I've just got to get lower scores on par 5s. Funnily enough, par 3s has actually been where I've been strongest. Of par 3s, par 4s, par 5s, which is a rarity normally. You'd kind of expect that to be one of the weaker ones and par 5s to be the stronger one. So I'm confident on this one. I realise I've not made any sense and I don't know what that word was. It was meant to be confident, but I think I said confident. It was actually all over it, that. A little bit long but straight downwind, but definitely more accurate with my irons than I'm my driver, which is something you'd obviously expect. But I'm never that often like really wide with my irons, but my driver, well, I have been, so that's obviously quite a decent indication that my iron play is pretty good, because I feel good on the par 3s, and it's an indication that my driving isn't great because I've not been great on the par 5s, which is where I need to take advantage. Second tournament, Delamere Forest, which was a qualifier for the PGA Professional Championship. Shot 71, 1 under. So first 2 rounds of the season, really, 3 under, 1 under. It was a good start. Again, bad finish, bogeyed 16, 17. Bad routine on 16, par 3, short-sided myself, which I did a video on that a couple of weeks ago about short-siding yourself, and it's something that I've learned throughout the month, really, that I need to get better at. 17, bad tee shot, missed it again, the wrong side, couldn't do anything with it, made bogey there. So 1 under, it got me through, I qualified, but again, those sort of mistakes, you're going to make mistakes in golf, but when they're avoidable, that's when I get annoyed. So, and that was avoidable. So that was, that was the qualifier, so I got through that. So 68, 71 to start. Next was Manchester Open at Manchester Golf Club. I shot level par, but I started bogey par. First a short par 4, second and third at reachable par 5s, and I started bogey par, really poor start, but managed to birdie the last to make the cut. It was only 30 made the cut out of about 80, so I didn't play my best golf, scrambled it round, got a lot out of it because I scrambled it round, which gives me quite a bit of satisfaction doing that, something that I haven't really been able to do in the past. So got through, and then second round I hit it even worse, didn't scramble it round, and then I got a 10. Pardon? I got a 10. That is obscene. What the f? So I finished like, what, tied 30th or something. Shot 81, so that really hit the old stroke average quite hard. But 10s, they're not going to happen all that often, are they? You know what I mean? It's once every season, you'd hope. It was just bad tee shot, didn't commit to the tee shot. Again, that's what costs me, driver in a tournament. But I know the fault, I know where it comes from, and I figured out in the next round, which was a qualifier for the English PGA, and that was at Hesketh Golf Club, and I start there, bogey again to start, parred the second, and that once in a season 10 thing, yeah, well, I got a 10 on the third there. I've come close to tell you how bad it was here, because I was horrendous. Like, I was so bad. Felt like I was going to shoot 100. But I was actually proud of myself because I pulled myself together. I said on the 7th, right, if you don't want to make an idiot of yourself, you've got to do something. Set myself a goal to break 80. Granted, it's not a great goal, but when you're 10 over after 7, what are you meant to do? And I thought to myself, what I've been working on, you know, go through the process, what you've been working on. Remembered I'm trying to get extension at the top, and then figured out I've been getting very long, and that was costing me. Figured that out, shot 300 on the back 9 and shot 78, so I achieved my goal. So although that was a really poor round of golf, shooting 78, it was probably the round of golf where I got the most out of it. I learnt the most about myself. I was really proud of the way that I fought back to shoot 3. I mean, I was last on the leaderboard for the front 9, and I was second on the leaderboard for the back 9 in the tournament. So I was very proud of myself for actually not just sacking it off, which I could have done quite easily. And shot 85, but ended up finishing middle of the field, which wasn't good, but you know what I mean. I felt like I learned a lot about myself there. Some of the stats that have contributed to that, driving has been something that I've been working on, trying to get that swing speed up to 120, which I haven't quite managed this month. I got it to 119.6 today. Focusing purely on distance. I get in a tournament and I've kind of not worked on that one where I can control it, and the whole point of it is so that I have the ability to swing it that quick, but not necessarily needing to. It's when I can control the slower speed at 115, and I've kind of got away from that a little bit, so that's what I need to work on moving forward, because I've hit, just get me stats. I use something called Golf Data Lab to keep me stats. Driving accuracy, hold on. Fairways hit 37.8%, so not even 4 out of 10. I need to improve that. Scores will improve with that. I'm not going to make as many birdies if I'm not attacking from the fairways. That's something I've got to work on this month, so I'm going to work on getting the stock driver shot back out, because I haven't been using that at all. I've just been trying to smash it and I got obsessed with that, so the work I've done on that probably hasn't been as productive as it should be. After 3 rounds, my stroke average was 70.3, so I was flying, but those last 2, the 81 and 78, have killed me. So my stroke average for the month, 74. 71's my goal, but those last 2 rounds, I see them as hopefully a bit of an anomaly. The putt strokes gain stat, I actually gained 1.5 shots in that round. I shot 78, which was really good. That was the only one out of the 5 rounds that I gained strokes on. The other ones I lost 1.5 at Warrington, shot 3 under. I'm losing strokes but still shooting good scores. 1.5 at Delamere, still shot under par. I lost 2.5 at Manchester when I shot level par. And so, you know, there's so much scope for improvement, but in all honesty, that's something that I've probably neglected, is the putting. I've worked at home on the short stuff, but I've not worked on the bit where I need to actually make up strokes gained and hole some longer putts. Don't get me wrong, I'm not expecting to hole, you know, loads of 18 footers, because you're not going to, on the average of the strokes gained stat, you're not going to hole loads of them, but I very rarely hole them. So, you know, on that, in terms of strokes gained, I'm losing probably 0.2 around there of a shot each time on the field. If you hole one of them, you gain 0.8, so you're almost gaining a full shot on the field if you hole one. So it only takes one to bump your stats back up. You know, I hit good putts, and that's what happens. You know, they go close or they threaten or they're a good pace, but they just don't go in. I've just got to start holing.
Oh, I love that.
Yes! Like I said, I'm not going to hold loads of them, but in order to increase that strokes gained stat to what I want it to be, which was 0 basically, which obviously at the moment I'm negative, I've just got to hole the odd decent putt. I'm pretty good from short distance. I don't lose loads on that, but I just don't really hole anything of any real note. I think that's what I've got to work on, and it's no surprise because I've worked a lot on the short stuff, you know, playing the games round the clock and the 6 footers and those sort of games, and the 5 foot putt game that I showed you when I was in Tenerife. But I haven't really worked too much on the longer putts, almost because I think, well, I'm not going to hold them, but I've got to give myself a better chance of doing so. So that's what I'm going to do moving forward. I've got something to show you here, actually. I know Paul's not here in the video. He hasn't been in a couple now recently, but he's here in spirit, isn't he? Sponsored by Paul Waring, and his name's next to the bin. I've always said, you know, I'm striving to get on tour, which to me, I've thought about it a lot recently and think it's quite vague, really, just saying I just want to get on tour. Change of attitude really on that front. Obviously I want to get on tour, but I don't want to put that as the ceiling, if you know what I mean. That's all I'm going to get to. So I'm just going to say now, all I want to do in golf is give myself the very best chance of being as good as I can be. And I don't know how good that is, but I just want to get to the stage where I feel like, you know, I am performing to the level that I feel that I can perform at, and I haven't done that in the past. And in all honesty, I've been a long way off tour. I've never even nearly got a card, never mind kept one. So saying I want to get on tour, I'm a few stages before that. So I think the approach of saying, right, I'm going to do everything I can to get as good as I can physically be at golf. That's my goal. So that's my new mantra. What's your goal with golf? And my goal is to give myself the very best opportunity to reach my potential, whatever that potential might be. There's a couple of little things that I've started doing that's going to help me as well, sort of off the golf course and away from the gym and training, the mental side of things. I've signed up to something called No Limits Performance, which is something that Dave Allred has done, who's Molinari's psychologist. Someone just hit a ball into the trees there behind me. Basically, they send you a journal called a performance journal, and you fill in what your goals are for the day, what you want to achieve, and then you actually give feedback on whether you've actually done it or not. And I just feel like it keeps my focus. It makes sure that I actually get stuff done more efficiently. Another reason why I've been getting up at 5 in the morning, because I feel like I've got to get up early to get the things done, to achieve the things that I want to achieve during the day, and it just keeps me on track. Because otherwise I feel like it's easy to feel like you've got too much time, and like if you've not got a deadline, you'd leave it last minute. If you haven't got one, you just don't do it. So that helps me out a lot. Some of the podcasts that I've been listening to have helped. So I listened to, it's called Earn Your Edge podcast. Cameron McCormack, who's Jordan Spieth's coach, has a lot of different people on there, and that's really good, really helpful, listening to tour pros and their feedback on what they do. And it's going to work differently for every different person, but it's nice to have a couple of little different ideas from that. So a couple of little things that I'd recommend having a look at, and that's basically it from me and the geese. Hopefully gives you an idea of where I'm at with my golf, where I need to improve, what I'm going to be working on. Thanks for watching. See you next Tuesday.